Hello, my name is Greg Kenyon. I am the chair of the Iowa State Bar Association Elder Law Section. I'm here today with Larry Kudej, who is the vice chair of the Older Iowans Legislature. This is a topic of great interest to people in the Elder Law Section, and we're here for Larry to tell us a little bit about it. Before we start with those questions, I thought I'd ask Larry to give us a little bit of history of his practice and how he got to this point.
Sure. Well, I'm a retired assistant U.S. attorney. I retired at the end of 2011. Before that, I was in private practice out in Sioux City for a number of years with a law firm called Shaw, Marshall & Marks, doing probate and estate planning, amongst other things. After I retired, I started becoming involved with elder issues. When I was with the U.S. Attorney's Office, I helped with a number of cases involving fraud, involving senior citizens, and so became a topic of interest to me, and I gravitated towards issues involving seniors.
So the fundamental question here, when we talk about the Older Iowans Legislature, is what is it?
Sure. Well, the Older Iowans Legislature commonly is known as OIL, and OIL is a nonpartisan, all-volunteer group that is organized to deal with senior issues. Basically, we're in particular looking at issues involving seniors that are in need of assistance, that are frail and need of assistance, looking at trying to keep people in their homes as long as possible, those kinds of issues involving seniors.
So when did this begin? When was it formed?
Well, actually, we go back to the 1980s. Back in the 1980s, it was called the Department of Elder Affairs at that time, and some legislation was passed that created the Older Iowans Legislature, and we started meeting at that time. The format was a little different back then, but basically it traces its roots back to the 1980s, and it was something created by the Iowa Legislature. It is a nonprofit organization, so it's a 501c3 organization, so contributions are tax deductible. It's an all-volunteer organization. It's operated by a board, which is an all-volunteer board. We do not have any paid staff, unlike a number of organizations that deal with elder issues.
So you mentioned a little bit about the things that you've been involved in with it, but what would you say the focus of the organization is?
Primarily the focus of the organization is to advocate for seniors. And we do that basically through a legislative session that we hold on an annual basis. And as a result of that, we come up with 3 different priority issues, and then we give those to the board to basically turn into bills. And then we advocate to the governor. We'll meet with the governor before the session starts, and then we'll be meeting with leadership at the legislature, and then we meet with our local legislators, and we attempt to get those issues and other issues. We'll support other issues that we believe are of the kind of issues that affect seniors in a positive way as well during the legislative session.
So if you're getting this ready for the session, and you mentioned there's an annual session of the OIL, does that happen the same time every year?
It does, yeah. Basically, the Older Iowa Legislature meets the last Monday and Tuesday of September every year. So a couple of weeks ago here in Des Moines, we met. We meet in the House chambers at the Capitol for those 2 days. The first day, we'll hear from speakers from some of the Iowa departments. Like this year, we heard from the Iowa Department of Aging, from the Ombudsman, Long-Term Care Ombudsman's Office, Insurance Commissioner's Office. Rod Roberts was there from the Department of Inspection Appeals. We had a speaker from DHS as well there. And then we divide up into committees. And we had 4 different committees this year. And then people come up with issues that they believe warrant follow-up by the legislature, and the committees will report those. They'll come up with basically 3 to 4 issues per committee, and then the following day We start out the day by hearing from some additional speakers. For instance, this year we heard from Governor Branstad initially, and then we heard from Pam Yoakum, who is President of the Senate, and then Dave Heaton, who deals with fiscal money being given in the House, also spoke to us. And then we'll go into a legislative session, and we'll take those bills that the committees report out, and we'll either vote up or down as far as whether we want to consider those issues valid issues for the legislature to follow up on. And then at the end of the day, we prioritize all the issues that were approved, and we will come up with our top 3 issues. And those are the 3 issues that the Older Iowans legislature will make its priority bills for the purposes of pursuing with the governor as well as the legislature.
Well, Larry, this sounds like a very democratic process. If somebody has an issue, they can come and present it to this group and advocate for it, and if they can convince enough people, it makes it to the top of the list?
Yeah, it really is a grassroots organization, and it's intended to be that. It's not, and it's really important, it's nonpartisan. So we were looking for people on both sides of the fence, and we're looking, anybody that's got interest in seniors is what we're looking for, because as we have discovered in dealing with government, you have to deal with both Republicans and Democrats, and you have to deal with agency people. So it's not a situation of partisan politics as far as we're concerned.
So over the years, and it's been around since the 1980s, are there some significant successes you can point to that have come out of the OIL?
Yeah. Well, this past session, we were very actively involved in getting some funding for Lifelong Links. There was $1 million worth of funding, and Lifelong Links is a program that deals with information for seniors, and it's something that the AAAs, the area agencies deal with. It's a one-call system where you call in and people are able to get information. So we got that. We were part of that group, and that passed. In the past, Office of Substitute Decision Maker was something that we originally suggested, and it got passed, then it didn't get funded for a while, and then a few years ago, again, we got it refunded. We helped and participated in that effort to get it refunded. Ombudsman, the Long-Term Care Ombudsman's Office, we've been very active in trying to get additional positions for that and get those funded, so we've worked closely with that office. So those are the kinds of issues.
So this isn't a matter of a bunch of people getting around and just looking at long visions and pipe dreams. They are talking about real boots on the ground and advocate for them, and then legislation comes out of it that benefits a lot of Iowans.
Yes. Yeah, it really is. It's, I didn't mention elder abuse, but elder abuse has been something that's been on our radar for quite a bit over the last, my years of involvement since 2012. And we continue to be very interested in that because that's a topic that concerns us a lot.
There was a recent bill that was passed on that a couple of years ago.
There was something to deal with financial exploitation. The Bar Association was involved with that as well, and we thought that was a good suggestion by the Bar Association. We backed that and supported that passage of that as well. But that isn't, we have found that isn't the only problem that's out there as far as elder abuse, and we're continuing to look at that. That's why funding for Lifelong Links is so important, because Lifelong Links, one of the aspects that's involved there is there's a collection of data aspect that there's available there that we can see what kinds of problems are out there in the elder abuse area, and we're finding that legislators want to know what holes exist before they'll act, and so that's one of the important aspects of Lifelong Links is to collect that data, discover the holes where there might need to be some legislative changes.
What are current issues that the OIL is pursuing?
Sure. Well, OIL has got 3 priority issues. The first issue has to deal with workforce, and it has to basically deal with the shortage of workforce, of trained workforce. in the healthcare area as well as long-term care facilities. There just aren't enough people that are entering the field. There aren't enough people that are being retained in the field. And so one of the key priorities this year is to look for, and we're still working on the details of this, but we're looking for ways to recruit and retain people in the healthcare area to get a quality workforce that can deal with seniors.
So this would be both, I'm assuming this would be both in facilities of some kind or people that provide services in the home?
Exactly. It's in both venues, correct.
And with our aging population, this has got to continue to be an issue.
Very much so, because if you look at the figures, the Iowa senior population is going to do nothing but go up.
If you wanted to become involved, you wanted to be a member of OIL, how would you go about that?
If you want to be a member, the simplest way is we have a website, and it's olderiowans.org. And on the website, it has a number of things. It has information about our past legislative session and the priority issues, and there are a couple of additional priority issues besides workforce and the funding for lifelong links. We're also looking at sexual predators and trying to keep them out of nursing homes. And so what we're looking at is a way to house them outside the long-term care nursing situation. But anyway, you go on there, and there are forms that people can fill out. It's for people that are 50 or older. They become voting members at a cost of $25. Professionals, there's also a professional category for people who are in the for corporations and professions, so that's a $250 fee. And if you're so inclined, you can also make tax-deductible contributions on the website as well.
Well, we got this a little bit out of order, but we talked about two of the three priorities, the workforce and doing something about sexual predators. What was the third one?
Basically, the third one would be last year, Lifelong Links was funded at a level of $1 million. But it actually cost $2.8 million to run the program. The AAAs, we believe, can subsidize it to a certain level. So basically, what we're looking at is something around $1.3 million in additional funding this year to fully fund the Lifelong Links program.
Great. Anything about oil that I've not asked you that you think we ought to know about?
No, I'm involved with another program called Elevate Aging, which is where a bunch of groups come together that deal with various senior issues, and it's truly a unique organization from the other ones because it doesn't have a paid professional staff out there doing things. Basically, the people that are involved in this are doing this because these are issues that are important to them. They are volunteering. They're driving to Des Moines on their own nickel. They're not being paid to come here. And so it's a truly unique grassroots organization. It's also unique because we try to be nonpartisan and get across and deal with people of all political persuasions. And so I think those make it very unique.
And for a practicing lawyer in Iowa that's got an elder law issue that they wanted to have action taken on, this is about as direct as you could get. They can share their concerns with oil in September, and it could be on the agenda come the legislative session in January.
Yes, yeah, I think it's it's another venue. Of course, the Iowa State Bar Association is one venue, but this is an important venue because you're actually dealing with seniors in this, and you're getting their input on things. And so often as attorneys, we have our own views on things. But I'm finding that consumers also have a big view, and they have their own thoughts on how things are supposed to be done, and that's really an important aspect that attorneys can learn from this organization.
Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Greg.